and I am here actually talking to you guys a little bit on, I don't know, what's it called, freestyle once, and usually I do a voiceover for this section, but I thought that this one kind of needed a little bit of a more introduction rather than, hey, this is the supplies I'm using. So I was asked by the Everyday Inspiration Gang, which is Christy's My Beautiful Life, I think Janet Fritz, Shannon Allure, all the YouTubers, right? And they reached out to me and said, hey, do you have a photo that will inspire us that, you know, is every day? So I thought, oh, how fun is that? So I sent them a photo, which I had no idea what the rules were, what I was supposed to do, nothing. I just, here's a photo. I think it's really cute and interesting and whatever, right? Well, then I realized that the photo is from this year, and I scrapbook by the year, so I scrapbook from 2021, 2019, things like that, until I feel like I'm almost done and ready to move on, or I'm running out of 12 by 12 pages to do my assignments, things like that. So I'm currently on 2021, and I've already done almost all of my fall photos, so I had to come up with something different and use the photo as inspiration to wildly create this layout that I'm getting ready to do. So I'm also working with my Simple Vintage Lakeside collection because I'm doing Kit Conspiracy along with Everyday Inspiration because today is Tuesday. It's the first layout that I have. It's also my first recording, so I will take everything out of the packaging, and that's why I wanted this to be like real time to kind of explain how I have my setup throughout the week in order to play with this kit and see everything that I have without constantly keep digging stuff out. So the first thing I wanted to share with you guys was a few of the papers that I picked out, and then of course all the embellishments and what is in front of me here. So first thing I want to share is I have my alphabet set. So these are the We Are Memory Keepers mold press alphas. I have not been using them as a mold. I have been using them as actual thickers because that's what they feel like, and they're the perfect size, perfect color for me, everything. I bought a ton of these when they were all on clearance. So I have that, and then the next one is this decoupage set. I think it came with one of Heidi Swap's, no, I apologize, you guys, I'm sorry, Vicky Bouton's collections. I think it's Storyteller, I'm not really sure. But I used that to create my my title. So my title is a play off the words. It says all patched up. So I played off the words of the word patch, but I loved a big blocky. I wanted to represent that big blocky word patch. But then also, if you look at the decoupage, it looks like it is stitched, like it's patched together. So another play on words, all within just the title. And then I have some explicit photos, but this was the only photo that I felt was okay to share with you guys. And he's probably going to be embarrassed, like, Mom, that's the worst photo ever of me. That's okay, because now he's all patched up, and you can't even tell the scar. He has no Indiana Jones scar or nothing going on. So I'm going to do 3 photos on this layout form. I might go get some cardstock, too. I have not pulled out cardstock. I just pulled out the 2 papers that I know I wanted to use. So I pulled the black and white stripe because in the photo, that's what I can see. Also, too, I pulled out this orangey color, even though it's got canoes and bikes and extreme sports stuff going on in the background. I pulled it out for its color because it's got that reddy orange look, like my balloons. My papers go. I'm trying to be quick about this because you guys really just want to see the layout and not me talk. So what I have here are all of these trays. Now I have an addiction to all these little tiny trays and things, you guys. A total addiction. I am loving all these little things to put all my trinkets and stuff. So with this collection, oh my gosh, I had no idea how many embellishments. Not only do I have 2 sticker sheets going on here, I'm going to push this back up so you guys can see, and then probably bring these back down because this is what we are concentrating on, okay? So I have 2 sticker sheets that are huge, and then look. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? Seriously, when I picked these out. Now, I definitely probably would have picked these out because I love, you know, a little bit of bulk to my layouts. And same with those, definitely probably would have picked those out. But a couple of these, it's just like, oh my stars, I'm going to be coming out of Lakeside collection through my ears for a year. Like, this is a ton of stuff. So what I plan on doing is taking these all out of their packaging and putting them in my little trays, so that way I don't have to rummage through, or did I already flip through this? Did I already look through this? Did I already? Okay, I don't want to do any of that stuff. So I definitely want to take all of these out of their packaging and put them in my little trays that I have going on. And then that way I can have them at the ready and I can rummage through the trays and everything's going to be mixed together. So I'm going to go and do all of that and put it on fast time. This is real time. Put it on fast time and get started on. All right, well, that introduction was quite long and I apologize about that. So I'm just showing you guys here where I have disassembled all of my embellishment packs and have put them in my little trays, but there are a few things that are not going to fit in my trays until I start using them up, and then I can cut them down. But I did find this double frame, and I'm going to go ahead and put my explicit photos within that frame, and then I went ahead and covered them up so you don't get to see them. So I'm going to cut down my other photo. I know it's kind of awkward when I have photos that are covered up to try to get the whole picture of what this layout looks like. But off camera, I kept taking it off and making sure that it actually looked good instead of just, hey, I think this will work type of deal. So I'm going to take this gorgeous orange photo. Now, the first thing I want to tell you guys is that I actually ended up struggling with this layout. So I went onto Pinterest and found inspiration on how to design my layout because I was really struggling and I really wanted to use a lot of these embellishments. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to use half the packaging or half of the packages today, but I wanted to find a layout that was heavily using these embellishments. So I did find one from the Simple Stories actually design team. Natalie DeSosa is who created this layout first, and I am just recreating it. You will see that later as soon as I am done cutting down my papers and actually have the layout put together. I will pop up her layout so you can see our layouts side by side and compare them to one another. I'm clearly not going as bright and beautiful as she is. I am definitely sticking to the mood and feel of my photos, but I do end up using a lot of the outdoorsy elements within all of these embellishments because of the fact that A, that's what I'm working with, and B, it happened outside while he was moving a bunch of logs. So one of the things that I cut out of the beginning because it was getting really, really long, and then I thought, well, if I say it now, then I'm not going to know what to say while I'm fast forwarding. So I cut it out just so that way I could tell you guys while I am, you know, scuffing up my papers or putting the layout together and things like that. But I did pick out this other frame that matches my double frame in a sense that it's the same going around the frame, not what's in the frame. I'm actually going to cover up both elements that already came pre-printed on the frame. I'm not worried about doing that, but I do end up cutting them up so that way it's a little bit more geared towards my photo rather than fishing and oh my goodness, I am so sorry. I'm getting so used to doing that. I need to stop. I need to do some like voice exercises or something like singers do before they go on stage so they don't yawn. So anywho, I am going to cover up both of the elements that are in the frames. So I'm not too worried about the fact that my photo overlaps or any of that kind of stuff. So what I'm doing now is my photo kind of blended in too much with the frame. So I'm going to just go ahead and give it a little border. And I did rip the edge of my photo because I had a lot of dead space in it and I didn't really want it because like I said, it was an awkward shape and I wanted to shrink it down just a little bit more, and ripping just seemed absolutely perfect for this style of layout, the mood and the feel that I'm going for. And also too, I picked out this French vanilla cardstock from Close to My Heart, but it is too crisp and clean and white for me, so I'm going to grunge it up by taking this amazing stencil that is by, Stamperia. I bought it off of, oh my goodness, a cherry on top. I'm sorry, I have cocoa vanilla on my brain, you guys. But I got it from a cherry on top, and I absolutely loved this stencil. I really, really did. So I went ahead and used that as my paneling on the two sides of my orange piece of paper that I cut down at 5 inches. And I measured my frame to find out the width of the orange piece that I was going to need. That's where I started it all. So I want my pattern papers to be a little bit smaller. Then I'm mixing two mixed medias. One is a paper glaze in Brown Dahlia, and the other one is a Nouveau crystal glaze that is called Rich Cocoa. Now I actually had to take this out into the garage and use a couple tools because the glitter, it's not glitter glaze, it's actually like glitter paste, but it's more like stickles. So the lid accidentally glued onto itself, so I had to use some pliers to, you know, reef it open just so I can use it, because there's a lot of product still left in there. So anyways, I mixed the two up just to get a little different, I don't know, a little bit of sparkle, but not a whole lot of sparkle on the layout. And now I'm just adding the papers and officially gluing everything down. I did rip my striped pieces of paper, so that way I had it going down just a little bit more. I mismeasured just a little bit, but it was fine. It was nothing that I couldn't do because, like I said, I measured everything based off of my double frame down at the bottom, and I wanted everything to be a little bit smaller. So it does work out really, really well for me to just be able to rip that one piece down. I also tore off the layers of my chipboard pieces, so that way they'd lay a little bit thinner and I can overlap them all. I could not do that on my double frame because I actually added my photos beforehand, so that was my bad, but this gives me a little bit of the bulk that I like in my layouts. Okay, so I'm using this envelope that is full of greenery and a cute little letter and all that stuff to cover up the elements that are in the middle of my two frames, which was just like a hook and some fish hanging on it and a word of some sort. That's all it was. I'm not too worried about it at all, but I did want to use this beautiful viewfinder. I just didn't like the fact that I wanted to use it on my left side, just like Natalie did in her layout, which is now present and accounted for up there in the upper left corner of my screen. But the most portion of the brown viewfinder is the fact that it was down on the bottom right, and I needed it to be on the bottom or on the upper left. So I went ahead and I just flipped it upside down, and I plan on covering it all up anyways because it had nothing to do with my photos at all. So that's what I'm just working on right now, is just trying to figure out the elements that help me cover up all of those pieces without losing my my viewfinder that I really wanted. So I'm also looking for a tag or something that I can put to cover up that sign that is not quite visible on the upper frame. And then I went through the sticker book. Now that was very, very boring for me to have to sit there and read all the words and do all the things. So I cut that part out, and of course now you can see my hand is full of stickers. So yeah, I just picked out stickers that I felt were relevant to my photo, even though they are totally random for you know, for this particular layout. You would think that you know, this kind of layout would definitely be different, but I do actually like how this works because of the fact that he actually hurt himself being outdoors, and so I feel like it helps tell my story and whatnot. So anyways, gonna go ahead and like I said, the bottom frame, the double frame, is still at its full thickness, so I have to add a little bit of foam dots where I overlap, and then I went off screen and fussy cut all of my die cuts because, like I said, they're just, that white is so distracting, so I fussy cut it down just a little bit more, so that way it's not as distracting and it blends really well on the on my layouts. The chipboard pieces, on the other hand, are a little bit more harder to trim down and whatnot. I do if it's that big of a deal, but yeah, normally I don't. Anyways, these are pictures of my son, this is my middle son, and he was helping clean up the yard from when we put up our fence. And what we did was we we asked the neighbor if we could tear down his fence and put up a new one, because his fence didn't work. Like, his dog was constantly getting in our yard and stuff like that. So, I mean, the worst he could say is no, and then we just put our fence right up next to his fence. It's not a big deal. It's happened before, right? You know, other people do it all the time. But honestly, he had been talking about wanting a new fence anyway, so we thought, hey, this is a perfect time. We've got people here that are gonna haul it away, so I mean, why not? So he said yes. Well, my son was trying to help clean up the yard, and he was, instead of rolling the logs, which I don't understand why he wasn't, instead of rolling the logs, he was flipping them end over end, like long end over long end. And which seemed like more work to me, because he's lifting up the whole log to flip it. I just didn't make any sense, but I guess it was just something that he felt impelled to do. Well, anyways, one of the logs fell back up, so like it flipped over, and then he stepped forward too soon and didn't anticipate the other end, you know, flipping back up, and it got him to where his teeth went through his bottom lip. So yeah, this is a picture where I tried to stop the bleeding before taking him into the doctor's office. Well, this is actually the picture at the doctor's office, and I stuffed his mouth full of gauze, so that way he wasn't choking himself, because he likes to gross himself out like that. And of course, you know, he's a poor thing. It's just a poor thing. And of course, the two bottom photos are after the doctor cleaned it up, noticed it wasn't too bad, and then they stitched him up, and he's had a few stitches put in his lip. But the best part is that the doctor did such a great job that honestly, he doesn't even have a scar. Like, he doesn't look like Indiana Jones with the big old scar under his lip. It's just awesome. You can't even tell that he did anything. He had a big old puffy lip for the rest of the summer, but the swelling has gone down and his lip is back to normal. But yeah, it was interesting. And what was even more interesting is the guy that does the fencing with us, which is, he's quite funny. Men are men until they start seeing a little bit of blood, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, nope, go see your mom. So I've got 3 grown men in the garage being grossed out at my son because, you know, he's got blood on him, and I have a window into my office that is almost ground level, and so I usually keep the window open, and then that way everybody can come up and visit with me and do whatever in my office. So I opened up the window really quickly to see what all the commotion was about. And, you know, and of course in the garage, my husband's like, you need to take care of him. And he's just standing there, and you can tell he's trying not to cry. You can tell he's trying to be a man about it. And, so I go and get the first aid, not a big deal. And stuff his mouth full of gauze, because honestly, that's all I could do, unless I stitched him up myself, but I'm not going there. Leave that to the professionals, right? So yeah, I am definitely not going to be doing that at all. So yeah, and then of course, once that was all done, the grown men came out of the garage and was able to, you know, take him to the doctor and get him all prepped. And by then the adrenaline was leaving, and he was really hurting, and so that's where this photo came from. All right, you guys, this is it for the last of the layout. I did take a little bit of white sprinkle as well, or white splatter, as well as some warm sunshine from Altenew, just to spread around that yellow a little bit more. And yeah, that is my layout for the Everyday Inspiration Gals. Even though it has nothing to do with the photos that I have picked out, or the photo that I chose for inspiration, I felt like I got the color, and I felt like I got the big blocky words from the layout, and definitely the greenery. So in the photo, there was a lot of trees and a lot of greenery and things going on like that. So I definitely got that going on in the layout, and I absolutely loved the addition of the mixed media, extending my pattern papers going everywhere. So I absolutely loved playing with all of this. Here's a close-up of Natalie's layout as well. There's that photo again for the inspiration gals that I am joining with today. And I will check y'all later. All right, thank you so much. Bye.